This is a Gradowski of WeAreChange.org here in Las Vegas, and today we are joined by Mike Cernovich, who I guess you could call yourself a conservative commentator. And Mike's a very interesting person. If you don't remember him, he was actually on this YouTube channel before the presidential election predicting that Donald Trump would win when everyone was saying he had no chance at all. And Mike is also making a documentary right now called Hoaxed. I'm actually in there. I'm not really a right-wing person. What I also found interesting is you also had Black Lives Matter in there. But before we get into that, you're kind of known as, the kind of Trump guy. You've been calling a lot of important news about Trump. You haven't been afraid to criticize him, which I appreciate. And I was wondering, how do you think he's doing? Is it satisfactory to what you think was going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, the economy's good and everything, but for me, it was never, it's not great. The economy's good. We still sold arms to Saudi Arabia. The Wall Street took over. The carry forward interest loophole was never closed. So to me, it's like, well, I'm glad we're not in World War III with Hillary Clinton. So I'm thrilled Hillary's not going to win. But the Trump value proposition wasn't not Hillary, at least to people like me. The Trump value proposition was all these other things. Really going to go after Wall Street, going to close all these loopholes that Wall Street uses. We're going to do something about all of these issues. And instead, I'm like, well, I'm glad we're not, again, going to war with Russia to support Turkey, which is a terrible regime. But that's not what we were about. That's not what MAGA was about.
And now it's really interesting because I kind of want to riff with you just a little bit on this, because to me, him putting Mathis in there, John Bolton in there, China and Russia, even just a few days ago, declaring that they're preparing for war. Is it really that much different than what we saw under Barack Obama, especially with Trump even going further and even bombing Syria twice and still keeping that very close relationship with Saudi Arabia that has only been kind of tinted a little bit with the killing of the journalist that was a part of the Washington establishment?
Well, this will sound weird for me because I was against Saudi Arabia before the media was, and now they're like, oh, you killed a journalist. But no, he wasn't a journalist. He was an op-ed columnist. The whole thing is like such a lie. So it's weird. I'm actually defending MBS, but I'm not Team MBS. So the Saudis actually under Trump gave Trump concessions. They've given information, they've turned over terrorism, they've started a center in Saudi Arabia, and God, I sound like an apologist, so trust me, I'm not a Saudi apologist, but we actually got something out of Saudi Arabia, which Obama got nothing out of them. And now Mattis is even saying, we got to do something about the famine in Yemen and everything. So no, Trump, foreign policy-wise, Trump has been great. Domestic policy, it just, things, they should have done more on the Wall Street loopholes, a lot of these tax loopholes that exist. Tax cuts for the rich don't really turn me on, don't really excite me. That was never what I was about. And that's why Trump now, going into election season, we're going to have a middle-class tax cut. It's like, well, why didn't you do that a year ago, right? Why didn't you do that a year ago? So I don't believe in trickle-down economics, and Trump's base, I don't think, believes in it either. So it would have been nice to have seen some tax reform packages that actually benefited middle and lower income people.
Yeah, and the middle class tax cuts that were initially established by Donald Trump actually expire within the few years, while the top tax owners, of course, keep their tax cuts. But again, I would kind of disagree with you. Just to be completely honest, I don't like this foreign policy at all. But regardless of the fact we could disagree with each other, and I think that's what's great about this political discourse, we could have a conversation without emotionally freaking out. To me, what's happening with Russia and Yemen and Saudi Arabia, I'm still extremely skeptical. And I think everyone should be extremely skeptical with Saudi Arabia's concessions, because we've been hearing in the press and the news that they're going to be changing and reforming, and they really haven't. They're still stoning people and killing gays. And you want to reply to that?
Well, sure. Again, skepticism's a great thing. But if you remember the original Republican debate, one of the questions was, would the U.S. go to war with a NATO ally, Turkey, against Russia? And I remember saying, whoa, wait a minute. So we're going to go to war with Russia for the Turks, but the Turks there's a terrible, terrible regime. So to me, the fact that we're even in the Middle East at all is the bigger problem. So yeah, I'm not like, oh yeah, go MBS, everything is great in Saudi Arabia, everything's lovely. But at least we're trying to move them in a different direction, where Obama just rolled over. So for me, we're not talking about going to war with Iran, which Hillary Clinton wanted to do. We're talking about, regime change, but from the bottom up, not the top down. And it's hard to appreciate this, but remember, again, go back to watch the debate footage. There was literally a question which said, if Russian airplanes violated Turkish airspace, would we go to war with Russia to defend our NATO ally in Turkey? And I remember sitting at home like horrified. I'm like, whoa, fuck all these people. I don't want anything to do with any of them.
I mean, to me, the big comparison, and you can reply to this if you want to, was, of course, Donald Trump when he was running as president with his harsh comments about Saudi Arabia. And when he came into presidency, kind of forgetting about all of that. But if you want to get into that, we can. But the next question I kind of wanted to get into is your predictions for the elections. Of course, the mainstream media, there's so much fake news out there. There's so much disinformation. They told us Trump wouldn't win. They're telling us that there's going to be a major blue wave. How do you see this next election coming out in the congressional and Senate seats?
Yeah, right now the newest election's too close to call. Pre-Kavanaugh, Democrats had it clutch. But what they did to Kavanaugh was it riled the base up. Because it's one thing to go after me, to go after Luke, to go after fringe characters like Alex Jones. People go, well, those people are weirdos, they deserve it. And then they went after Kavanaugh, they're, wait, like nobody is actually safe. And that riled up the base. So I went from, in July, blue wave, no question, I'd bet my life on it. Now it's going to be close. I will say this, early voting in Texas especially, Beto is way overperforming. Early voting is something like 4 million people, whereas in 2014 it was 1.7 million people. There are liberal districts in Texas where they're saying they're seeing turnout consistent with 2016. And by the way, if you're watching this YouTube channel, you go on CNN, they're not talking about this. They're idiots. They're talking about like Jacob Wall allegedly paying somebody to accuse Mueller. And I'm like, that's such a dumb, story. And if you actually follow early voting patterns and what's going on, you find out the map is a lot more complicated. So anyone claiming they know what's going to happen Tuesday, absolutely lying.
Yeah, and I appreciate that about you. You're able to actually say what you actually believe in, and if you don't believe in something, you're like, I don't actually know, which is very rare in media. And again, political ideas, we have different points of views on how we see things, especially with foreign policy. But the next question I kind of wanted to ask you is this kind of strange headline, since you have your sources on the inside, about Steve Bannon allegedly meeting with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, if you don't know who Jeffrey Epstein is, that is a whole nother can of worms that you could Google right now that would blow your mind away with how much corruption is within our own establishment. And you've been doing work against Jeffrey Epstein. And what do you make of the news reports of him meeting with Steve Bannon?
Yes, I'm literally in federal court litigation with Jeffrey Epstein, and oral arguments will be heard, I believe, December 8th. So I actually sued to get records about Jeffrey Epstein and all this pedophilia stuff going on there. So when I read the Daily Mail article, or the NY Daily News, wherever it was, about Bannon, I was like, I don't actually really believe this. And then I found out Roger Stone was the source for that. So I like Bannon and I like Roger, but there's a lot of rat fucking going on either side. So I don't even know that happened. Bannon's never admitted that he did that. If Bannon did meet with Epstein, I would definitely like to have a very aggressive conversation about that choice. So that falls in the category of, is Roger just rat fucking Bannon? Is it even true? Did it even happen? How do you even know?
It seems like there's definitely a lot of chaos inside Trump's White House with, Michael Flynn, with Kushner, with Bannon. Roger Stone, a whole nother interesting character as well. But it definitely seems like there's more chaos than order within Trump's White House. How do you see it going for him in the future and on the next election?
Well, Trump's greatest sin actually is that he didn't surround himself with loyalists. He handed over the RNC right when he got elected. Reince Priebus took over. They hired all their cronies and the people who are never Trump. And it never has been the same. So when people talk about Trump, when I think about Trump, I think about missed opportunity. There's almost like a what could have happened. And it isn't Monday morning quarterbacking. People were on that game day saying, here's what you need to do. So for me, it's not nostalgia, isn't exactly the word I'm looking for, but it's a feeling like nostalgia. It's a feeling of, this could have been something else. It could have been so much more. And here's what we're dealing with now.
Mike, I really appreciated the conversation. Where can people find out more information about you?
Yeah, Cernovich.com. I'm still on social media until they assassinate me, which could be any day.
Yeah, who knows what will happen, especially with the media purges that have been going on, but most importantly, thank you, amazing human beings, for watching this video, sharing it with your friends and family members if you found it useful, and being here with us. Love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for more.